What's up, everybody? It's Prophecy again, back at you with Rockin' the Poet Life, where the customers become the guests. Very good to be back. Now, if you want to be here where Miss Latrice is at, make sure you purchase your gear at poetlife.com and DM us on Instagram using the code Prophecy. That is PRXPHECY at checkout for a discount, spelled how you see it on the screen. Get you your free money, get you your merch, and come on here and have a conversation. Now, today, we have Miss Latriece Speaks. It is very nice to have you here. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
Hi, I'm Latriece Speaks, and it is good to be here.
Yeah, great. We're so glad to have you. We're so glad to have you here as a guest. So tell the audience a little bit about, what you do, the kind of things that you're involved in, and, just what makes you a poet.
So, yes, I am a poet. Not just a poet, but a writer. I do love to speak. I'm
Mm,
still very much in my beginning stages. I'm
right.
still learning a lot about myself. I'm also a mom of three, so it's taking up a lot of my time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of me right now. I have a master's. Um, and I am definitely trying to buckle down more and write more so that I can use poetry as a vessel to get out to the people, and speak
Yeah.
about the message of Christ, to get out to the world, encourage people. Um, and yeah,
Right. So
that's
you
me.
incorporate religion into your art.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. How do you come across that kind of approach?
Well, it's just ingrained in me. It's a part of me. So I really, it's hard not to write a poem sometimes without incorporating Christ because Christ lives
Right.
in me, and it's all a part of me. But and I love God so much, so it just spills out. Um, but I definitely um there are poems that can be written that are not, just talking about God, but still using a message of what, how God speaks to me, and, using that to tell people about it. So
Right. Right. That's dope. So when you said you're a mother of how many?
three.
Three. Wow. So that's got to be some kind of incredible balance to balance three kids. And how old are your kids?
Oh, goodness. 2.5, one, and I have a newborn that's a month and a half.
Oh,
So
so you have your hands full, is what you said. Okay.
yes, so I'm like still, I haven't written in a while. Like I was
Yeah.
writing right before I had the baby, and I was writing a book. That's what I didn't say. I was also in the middle of writing a book, and then I had my baby. So I'm like, okay, now I need to adjust to having three kids under three. It's a lot, but I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm like settled down now a little bit more. I'm adjusted a little bit more. So I'm like, I really need to start writing because I love it. And I know like God is continuously speaking to me, like, you need to use your voice. You
Right.
need to use it. Like, having three kids, having a husband, like, it's not an excuse to, be too busy where you can't use your voice. And so that's why poetry really is so important, because it allows me to, express what is going on inside of me and what God is stirring up inside of me. So God's like, no excuses, get to writing. Like, okay.
Right. Congratulations on your newborn, and wow, that's an incredible thing to have three kids under three and still, find time to do something like poetry, speak to people and use a platform to reach new people. So that's incredible. Like I'm actually in awe right now. I'm 18, so I have no idea what it would be like to have three kids and continue a poetry career. So yeah, that's great. But I see
It'll
you
be
have
you one
your
day.
three kids is, a little bit,
Maybe not three, but
maybe not
one
three.
day.
Oh wow! I see you have your poetry hoodie on. I mean, yeah, your
I
poet life,
do.
and tell me a little bit about what the poet life means to you, wearing it, as a customer, as a poet yourself who embodies this brand and this lifestyle as you wear it, and even when you're not wearing it, what does it mean to you? to kind of embody that kind of that lifestyle?
Yeah, well, the poet life, man. I how did I even come across the poet life? I believe it was a podcast. Not even sure how I found it, but it just happened. And I just remember listening to Christoph on the podcast, and I'm like,
Hmm.
this guy is amazing. Like, I haven't learned so much about poetry before. I'm like, wow, I need to get it together because I know nothing, you know?
Yeah,
And so the poet life really means a lot to me. And I just started following Christoph, and I was like, I love this guy's message. I love this guy. Like, I need to surround myself with people who have the same vision as me and are sacrificing things for poetry, sacrificing their time for poetry. And so
yeah,
the more I started following him, I'm like, I love that it's still in the beginning stages, the poet life.
right.
And I'm like, I want to support this guy. Like, I love what he's about. And what also was really cool too is there's been somebody that I know that also follows the poet life too. And so I'm like, that's awesome. Like, I believe in it even more, because
Yeah.
I believe in that person. So yeah, and a cool story. I was wearing my poet life hat
Hmm.
one day, and I was talking with this guy, right? And then a few weeks go by later, and he sees me again. He's like, "Hey, you're the poet, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, yes, I
Oh,
am the
yeah.
poet."
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. What's up? And I love that because if I really didn't wear anything that said poet life, nobody would know I'm a poet. Just walking on the street, unless I was just like, "Hey, everybody, I'm a poet," which
Right, right.
you're not necessarily going to be doing, or. So as I grow older and I start to learn and grow, um, it is really important to me that people know that I'm a poet because for when I first started, I never knew I could really do poetry until the Lord just kind of like dropped it on me one day. And as I was just kind of journaling, like a spoken word came out. I was like,
Yeah,
oh, okay, what's this? Um, and not a lot of people knew that I was writing poetry, not even my own husband, because I was kind of like, oh, I don't want anybody to know about it. But now I'm like, people need to know I'm a poet. Like, people need to hear what's inside of me, what God is telling me. So it is really important to wear gear like this because you just never really know who you're going to run into. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say you don't know how you came across the poet life really, because I don't even remember how
Yeah, I don't.
I and here I am on this side, hosting a poet life podcast, and I really I really don't remember. I know it was last year, like around July, and I don't even remember the first project I was a part of. But I mean, I'm so glad that I came into contact with the poet life like you did, just
Hmm.
watching everything that they've been doing and the kind of projects and platforms that they allow poets like us to be a part of openly. All
Right.
those open casting calls that are open to everybody. Like, if you want to be here, just come and we'll
Hmm.
put you on. Like, that is such a dope concept.
It
And
is.
it's such a great feeling when people like know that you're a poet without you having to take the extra steps to yell it out to the world. Like, they can
Hmm.
literally see it, and then
Hmm.
it opens up so many doors. Is poetry something that you intend to like pursue more on like a career route, or is it more like a passion, like a side passion for you? Like, how do you view poetry?
Well, at first, again, like I never, this like again, like the Holy Spirit just like dropped this on me, and I would just journal before, and it's kind of funny. I was actually kind of mad at my husband, and so I like went and started journaling, and like I said, like it just like a spoken word came out, and I was like, what is this? And so
Yeah,
it wasn't like I just grew up writing poetry at all. Like, this
right,
was something that happened in 2016. So it's very, very still new to me. And I'm
right,
still learning. And at first, I was just writing poetry, but probably over the last 2 to 3 years, um, that's when like God has been like, no. this is something you are going to pursue. And
Yeah.
I do want to make a career out of it. And that's why I'm so glad I came across the Poet Life, because I didn't know how that was possible
Right.
until I started like listening, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it can be a career, like I can do something, because
Mm-hmm.
we're not just poets, you know what I mean? Like we're also writers, and you could do
Right.
so much with writing. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally you could do so much with writing.
Yeah.
Movies, like there's just so many things. And yeah, so I definitely want to pursue it as a career, but I'm still like, okay, Lord, how am I going to do this? And he's like, well, you
Mm-hmm.
need to use your voice. You need to start speaking. You need to
Right.
start writing.
Yeah.
So definitely a career. I just don't know exactly how yet, but I'm letting the Lord lead me.
Yeah, I mean, poetry leads into everything. I mean, like you said, like writing is everywhere. If you want to go into screenwriting, movie producing, songwriting, I mean, you name it. I mean, writing could go into law, policy making. Like it's really wherever you wanted to take poetry, and that's what I love so much about it. Is like it's so versatile, and you could go anywhere. Um, but why do you feel it's important to, wear that kind of clothing and brand yourself? And I know you spoke a little bit about, being noticed and things like that, but just why do you feel it's important to show the world who you are before you have to say anything? Oh, did I lose her? Am I lagging?
You good?
I think we might have lost her.
Okay. Should jump back in.
Yeah.
Good conversation, man.
Yeah, I mean it's going good.
Yeah. Yeah. Just state that question again
Yeah.
and let that be the closing.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let me make sure she didn't chat me. Her battery her phone probably died.
Mm,
Probably. She probably getting a charger.
yeah.
Just hold on for a second. All right, here she go.
Okay.
Okay, that was so weird. Never, ever, ever have I had that happen to me before. It like turned off, and it was like, temperature, your phone is too
Oh
hot.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm like, never, that's
No
never
worries.
happened.
We're almost finished. I'm gonna hop off and y'all can continue.
Okay.
yeah. Technical difficulties. You know how it is.
Yeah.
But why do you feel it's important to wear clothing that kind of it tells who you are and it shows who you are before you ever have to say anything? I know you talked a little bit about getting recognized before you really have to open your mouth. But what does it mean to you to really just rock the poet life?
Well, it makes me think about, when you walk by people and they're showing different teams that they like, or I don't, you know what I mean? Just different
Yeah.
things that people enjoy. Um, and it really kind of shows people, you're like, oh, it just tells you something about somebody before you ever even talk to them, And I think I want people to know, oh, like she's a poet.
Yeah.
And I want people to know like what I'm passionate about, what I stand for. And
Right.
I think it is a great thing to be able to wear this before I even speak to somebody, because
Yeah.
they know what I'm passionate about, and they know what I stand for. They know what what I'm serious about. So,
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Before we close, I'm going to give you the opportunity to plug anything that you want, any platforms, any projects you have coming up, any projects you've already done that you want to put a spotlight on, just anything that you would like to show off right now.
Well, I did do a video a few months ago, and I
Okay.
was rocking my Poet Life hat, so that's
Okay.
exciting.
Yeah.
But my husband is still working on the video because, he just had a baby. He's like, I'm taking a break. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so probably I think he's gonna work on it this week. So I'm really excited to
Okay.
send out a spoken word video. And I was like, I specifically told my husband, I was like, I want to wear my Poet Life hat. Okay, I need to wear it because
Yeah.
I wanted, whoever followed me, whoever sees the video, like I want them to see this brand, and who knows, potentially somebody who else is a poet or just somebody who likes to represent poetry, that they'll see it and be like, I need one of those because I want people to
Right.
come and support Poet Life. So that's pretty much what I have for right now.
Wow. Well, it was incredibly great having you on. It was an amazing conversation. I'm so glad we got to talk and
Me too.
create this this dialogue for the people to hear. So, like I was
It's good
telling
to
the
be here.
guests and the visitors, if you want to be here where Miss Latrice is, go ahead and go to poetlife.com and buy your merch and use code PROPHECY. That is PRXPHECY as you see it on the screen. We can come here and have a great conversation like me and Miss Latrice speaks. Well, it was great to have you and thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.